Now I'm gonna go ahead and tell you like it is. And you might not get this information from anywhere else. I don't know who you follow on YouTube. Those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. This is the Market Genius, and I've been selling real estate for almost a decade here in Metro Atlanta. And what I want to tell you first and foremost is that this year, 2025, is going to offer you probably the best opportunity to get you a new home, resale home, whatever kind of home you're looking for. 2025 is going to give you one of the best opportunities to be able to buy a home. Now, I don't like to really make predictions, right? I just go based off of what we see in the market here. So we had a new construction home here south of Atlanta. These homes here are right at about $600,000. Brand new home, all right? I don't care whether you like the home or not. My point is this. This builder right now is giving up to $20,000 in incentives. Now, what does that mean if you've been on the sidelines looking to buy a house, or if you're thinking about buying a home? Well, first and foremost, you have a lot of leverage as a buyer right now. See, these sellers, new construction, resale homes, all of them are pretty much begging you to come and buy their homes, believe it or not. A lot of inventory is sitting. A lot of people are on the sidelines and they can't afford to buy a home. So if you are in a position to be able to buy a home, I'm telling you, 2025 is going to give you one of the best opportunities that you've had in probably the last 3 to 4 years. Now, if you're interested in buying a home, you already know you can hit the information or the link below, and I'll be glad to help you with a 5-star service. But this video is actually for the other group of people, all right? I'm not talking to you. If you can buy a home, guess what? This video ain't even for you. I'm talking about the millions and millions and millions of people who cannot afford a home. The millions and millions of people who don't want to buy a home like this and pay $4,000 a month. And I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, man, why you make a video for us? Well, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And I know that everybody on YouTube can be really negative when it comes to the real estate market. Oh, the real estate market's gonna crash. Oh, you should never buy a home. Well, in this video, we about to talk about some things that you should be doing, or like I said, light at the end of the tunnel. The silver lining if you don't want to or can't afford to buy a home. Because hey, at the end of the day, whether you can or can't do something that everyone else does, you should not feel bad about it, right? You should live your own life, play your own plays, and then you see how things go. So, before we jump all the way into it, our group, our community here is called the Genius Crew. I want you to join, like, subscribe, share, do all of that. But first and foremost, before we get to all that, go ahead, drop the track. Welcome back. The Market Genius. Hey, listen, everybody gets down on renters, all right? Now, if you're renting, like the number one thing that people are gonna say about renting is that, well, you know, the cost of rent is always gonna go up. So you're pretty much throwing away money. And you know what? For a lot of people, that may be true. But what other people don't tell you about home ownership is there are rising costs for home ownership as well. You see, there's an acronym that we use in the industry, PITI, right? That's synonymously used as your mortgage payment, but what it means is your principal, your interest, taxes, and insurance. Now, your principal and interest for a house like this one behind me, right? Those are fixed, right? If you get a fixed interest rate at, you know, like the rates they are today, 5%, 6%, if you get a interest rate like that, of course, that's not going to change. And your principal, how much you paid for the house, that's not going to change either. But what people don't tell you about home ownership is that your taxes and your insurance are also going to rise, probably on a yearly basis. So, you know, if you ever look at what's called an amortization schedule, right, which breaks down your monthly payments over the course of a 30-year span, what you will see This is a nice house too. What you will see is that your payments will increase year after year. I'll give you an example. So when you buy a new home, like one of these homes right here, right? You buy it the first year, believe it or not, your payment's gonna be very cheap. It's probably gonna be just as cheap as the realtor who sits on site is gonna tell you. But what they aren't telling you, or what they may not be as upfront about telling you is that the second year, when this house gets assessed, and your payments going to rise significantly. And I know you're probably thinking like, well, what do you mean? Well, your mortgage payment, or excuse me, your taxes, right, that you're paying for this house is based off of the raw land. So you can like chop this house off, right? What you're paying for your first year is just pretty much for the land when it comes to taxes. Second year, your county is going to send out a tax assessor, and they're going to say, oh, by the way, you have a beautiful house. This house is worth, I don't know, $600,000. They're going to assess your taxes based off of that, which means that that's going to go up, right? And then insurance, right? Does anybody's insurance ever go down? Does your car insurance ever go down? Does, any other insurance, that your health insurance, right? My health insurance just went up by like $800 for the year. Just this new year. So, and the first thing is like I said, if you're renting and you're feeling bad because you're like, oh my God, my rent's gonna keep going up. Listen, the homeowners, they're not telling you that their rent is also, or their mortgage also goes up every single year. Second thing is, it's like, if you're sitting on the sidelines, maybe, everybody has different reasons they're on the sidelines, right? Some people are thinking that, they're not ready to buy a house. There are people like that. Some people can't afford to buy a house. But here's my question to you, specifically if you are on the sidelines waiting to buy or just don't want to buy, right? Do you think that home prices will continue to go up, right? You have many people who are talking about this reverse housing crash. It's pretty much saying like, well, where the economy is right now, that they're going to have to drop the interest rates to where it can become more affordable for people to, originate loans, houses, cars, everything, right? And they're saying that when rates drop, that if you don't have any assets, then homes are going to jump up another 20, 30, 40%. Do you believe that? All right. There are millions and millions of people just like you, if you can't buy a house or if you don't want to buy a house, sitting on the sidelines as well. And that has led to the increase in the amount of inventory that we have here, not just in Metro Atlanta, but nationwide. So do you think that home prices are going to continue to rise and you're going to be left out? Let me know. Now, here's what you really should be doing. See, if you don't own a house, the number one thing that you are missing out on if you don't own a house is wealth accumulation. That's what you're really missing out on. Don't let anybody tell you that, not owning a house is bad. Okay, that's their opinion, right? And you should never let anybody tell you that you're doing or you're trying your best and you're not getting the results that they want you to have. Don't let that define you. But here's the truth about it. If you don't own a house like this, what you really are missing out on is wealth accumulation. And what do I mean by that? Well, by you buying a house like this, 30-year mortgage, which is what most people are going to get, it's like a forced savings account. Every month, you put in money, and it's supposed to be held in the house. And 99% of the time, in the course of history, when it comes to real estate, except for like 2008 and a couple of other times, the home is held as value. And so you can go back later, sell the home, and get that money out. But if you don't own a home, what you're missing out on is that accumulation of wealth through renting. But here's what you need to do. Listen up very closely. If you do not own a home and don't want to own a home, then you should be investing in stocks. All right. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go and, you can take my course, which I'm going to put on the screen right here. You can go take the course and learn how to invest in stocks. But if you don't want to do that, or maybe you're going to do it on your own, whatever, right? My point is this. You should be investing in your wealth accumulation. All right. Now, take example, this past year, 2024, stocks went up at least 20% or more, like the entire market, right? Now, I don't know where you live, but I guarantee you, if you bought a house in 2024, it's not worth 20% more. And so, if you are sitting on the sidelines, or if you can't buy, and you're thinking, like, okay, well, I don't want to buy, I can't buy, how do I still build for my future? You should be invested into stocks. I get people all the time that ask me, like, why don't you invest in real estate? And my answer is always the same. I prefer stocks. It's just my opinion, and they have the sign here that says 400s, but you're definitely not getting a house in here for the 400s unless they do some price cuts. But me personally, I just prefer to invest in the stock market. I sell real estate. I enjoy selling real estate, right? I enjoy helping people build wealth through real estate. I think that owning a house is the easiest way to build wealth. But what I'm talking to, or who I'm talking to, is people that have either been left out economically, or maybe you made some life choices that you can't buy a house. If that's the case, you should be investing in stocks. Think about it, right? This house, easily $4,000 a month. Let's just say, for example, let's just say that you've got an apartment or a house that you're renting for $2,000 a month. All right, $2,000 a month, but you could afford $4,000. And instead of you taking, let's say, $40,000 that it would take to put down to get into that house at a minimum. So cold out here, create tears, or maybe I'm crying for those of you who sitting on the sidelines. But let's say you take that $40,000, right? Put it in the S&P 500, and every month you put up $2,000, $2,000, right? Now, I'm gonna do the math for you on my other phone, just so you know, like, there's no sugarcoating or no funny numbers going on here. But I'm telling you, right? If you were to do that in 30 years, you're gonna have way more money cash than these people, right? If they don't invest in the stock market. And of course, if you are investing, then you may not actually end up sitting on the sideline that long here. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna pull up a compound interest calculator, right? And like we just talked about, all right, $40,000 is gonna be your initial investment. All right, and if you don't have 40, just play along. I'll put a link in the description for you to put your own numbers in. Maybe you just got 5,000. Maybe you have no money, right? And you just want to figure out what it is, all right? So we're gonna say $2,000 a month, and I'm gonna say for 10 years. All right, so one person stays in that house for 10 years. You're investing for 10 years. We're gonna say your estimated return is gonna be 10%, although it's 20% in the S&P 500 this year. Let's see what you come up with. Boom. 10 years, you have $486,000. Now, you tell me, in 10 years, will this house sell for $1 million? Still putting out tears, man. I'm crying. Would this house sell for $1 million in 10 years? Or would you rather have $486,000 cash in your pocket? Obviously, you might want to have a combination of both. But I'm just letting you know, if you cannot invest or purchase real estate right now, your main focus should be getting into the market. You don't have to be an active investor. Just take some money, put it to the side, invest in the S&P 500, let it sit, and I promise you, you're not going to get left behind. You're not going to be missing out on anything. And in the future, you'll be able to get your hands on some real six-figure cash. Now, let's say you're one of the people to where, like, I have a lot of people that are like this. You can buy a home. You just can't buy the home that you want. All right? Now, if you can buy a home, but you can't buy the home that you want, then, hello, don't sit on the sidelines. Go buy a home that somebody else would want. I have a lot of clients that I've worked with, for a lot of prospects, should I say, that I've worked with, and they're like, well, I only qualify for $180,000. Okay, well, guess what? $180,000 will buy you a house in Alabama or in South Georgia, to where you can at least generate some rental income and also be able to have some wealth building, some wealth accumulation for the future. So the next thing is like, hey, you know what? If you work a job, buy what you can afford. If you're that hungry, or should I say thirsty, to get into real estate and you can't get the home that you want, fine. Don't worry about it. Go rent something. Buy you a home that you can afford. All right. Maybe buy you a fixer upper. Like I've had clients that have bought fixer uppers. They buy the house, put a little equity in it, refinance, make money. Don't sit on the sidelines though. If you can buy a house and you can't buy the home that you want, right? Shop for what you can get and just put somebody else in there, because there's always going to be more people that are renting than that are owning. Well, it just depends on what community. In terms of like black people, yeah, there are, more people renting or more people that don't own homes than do. So if you can't own a home or you can't find the one that you want, you should easily just go get you a rental property, right? Put somebody in there, make some money, have them pay your mortgage, and build wealth that way. But just don't sit on the sidelines if you have the ability to do something. And I mean, at the end of the day, you know, life is too short to worry about what you don't have. If you can control something like your money, your skills, do what you can do. If that's what you can do that. But don't fall into the trap of feeling bad because you don't have something that somebody else wants you to have. America is built off of consumerism, and they want you to feel bad because you don't own the house. They want you to feel bad because everyone else is doing something and you're supposed to be part of the in crowd. Listen, just don't fall into that trap. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. There's always something that you can do to be better for yourself, to be better for your family. And like I said before, 2025 is going to be one of the best opportunities to buy real estate. So whether you're buying something to live in, whether you're buying something for, an investment, get active, all right? Because now is opportunity, and we don't know how many opportunities that you're going to get like this in the future. So jump on it, get on it. If you want my help, I'm, of course, here to help you. And if you got a couple more minutes, I want you to watch the video that's on your screen. I have a ton of videos on this channel that are super underrated when it comes to learning about real estate, learning when to buy real estate, how to buy real estate. So go ahead, tune in, binge watch, and of course, welcome to the Genius Crew. I'm the Market Genius. Peace.